Everybody, we are back. It is Taped on Launch, favorite podcast, favorite channel, favorite is everything. We are back. You guys already know what to do. Hit the subscribe button. That's right. Get this thing up here.
You got to hit
subscribe.
subscribe.
subscribe. Hit the like button if you like it. The dislike button if you don't like it. Leave a comment if you like it. Leave a comment if you don't like it. Also follow us on Twitter at the Mark John NFL for me, at mholder95 for Matt, and of course pandasubs.com, discount code TDL for 25% off. All right, so we are back today, and we're talking about the 53-man roster that happened, and what shocking things, and of course we got some big news that happened in the last couple of days. Things have been going down with the Raiders. The Raiders have been exciting, to say the least. Probably the most exciting we've got. Yeah, wheeling and dealing, and guys making requests. So got a lot of things to talk about today, man. Got a lot of things to talk about. So.
What's funny is you said that, and I don't know why, but the last few days have been so crazy. I didn't even think of that at first, and then, yeah, that is like the biggest story of the last few days, really.
Yeah, I know, right? It's the biggest day. The biggest story is Jakobi Myers asking for a trade, but we're going to be talking about that, and of course everything that's happening around, and of course like there's Kenny Pickett, right? Which Matt, yeah. I saw you're watching film on Pickett already, so I'm happy you do that. So I don't have to. I appreciate you, Matt, for doing that. I appreciate you.
I mean, it was only 50 throws last year, but it wasn't bad. It wasn't terrible. It wasn't good. Yeah. It wasn't terrible. It was good backup film. Good backup film that way.
You're like, great backup film. Starter film, no. Backup, great. Great backup film. Exactly. Which, how you should feel about it. I really think it's not like a bad pickup, but I don't know. We'll talk about that. We talk about the 53-man roster. I guess we can kind of talk about all this news, especially that trade when we go over the roster a little bit. But because I think that was interesting trade. Now, after what happened with the roster appeared, is very interesting. In my opinion.
Should we just start there? Or...
I mean, let's start with Jakobi Myers, I guess, right? I mean, I guess that's because should be the biggest news here. Somebody said my mic is muted. Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay. All right. Make sure.
If both of our mics are muted, whoever said that, if both of our mics are muted, maybe you're just on mute.
Yeah, make sure everybody can hear me on here. But yeah, so first off about Jakobi Myers, that was very interesting for him to request a trade, and then you go pick up Amari Cooper right after that. But then that made more sense when they only kept 5 wide receivers. But I still think overall it is super interesting that Jakobi Myers is asking for a trade out of nowhere. What do you think about that, Matt?
It's an interesting one, and I kind of feel like if you're Pete Carroll and you're John Spytek, your hands might be kind of tied here where you might, like, if you really are going to be, like, all in, like, you might have to just end up paying Jakobi what he wants and kind of got to give in a little bit, because I think if you look at this receiving core, there's some potential on it. You have guys like Jack Betch and Jonte Thornton who are young and, you have a lot of, upside with them, but obviously neither one of those guys are ready. And I think if you take Jakobi Myers out of this receiving core, it's already not a great one, and it's really bad without it. Like, we both are high on Trey Tucker. I would not rely on Trey Tucker to be my top wide receiver. Now, Brock Bowers is wide receiver 1, and I get that part of it. But, you take Jakobi out of this offense, and, I get very nervous. All of a sudden, Jonte Thornton looks like is going to be your number 2. I get very concerned about that. And, again, if the Raiders, if Pete Carroll and John Spytek are literally going to be gung-ho, we're going after it this year, you're going to kind of have to figure something out to keep that guy happy. And I think they will, and it sounds like they're trying to do that without sacrificing, committing to him for a long-term deal. I just don't know if they're going to be able to accomplish that, because it does seem like he wants a new contract. He wants, a new he wants to be a pay bump too, I'm sure, because he's making $12 million a year, which is chump change in the current wide receiver market. So
it is.
It's one of those things where I would understand, from a roster building and big picture perspective, I would understand trading Jakobi Myers and getting picks, but at the same time, you've been preaching that we're going after it. You added a 36-year-old quarterback in Geno Smith. You can't really go after it and then trade away a guy that's coming off a 1,000-yard year when you have nothing really behind him at that position. So it's a weird spot where, I just hope they can get something done at this stage, because a disgruntled Jakobi Myers is not what you want. Especially too, like it did seem like a lot of the training camp reports, like there were certainly flashes from guys like Trey Tucker and Dante Thornton. And Jakobi Myers was the one consistent guy in that wide receiver room that even when things weren't going great overall for the offense, he was one of the few guys that were getting open consistently and had that connection with Geno Smith.
Yeah, I really think this is about, they're having a kind of contract dispute a little bit, and he's like, you guys are going to pay me, I'm just send me somewhere else, right? Because he's still with the practice and stuff like that. He's not holding out, so he's basically like, if you guys aren't going to do it, I mean, send me somewhere that is going to pay me right now, even. But the Raiders could just kind of hold strong and be like, man, we can do that this offseason, but we need you this season, right? But I think they should pay him too, because it's not going to hurt anybody to pay him. And then if Jack Bech gets better, or some of these other guys start to take a next step, I think the role that he plays is different than those receivers. I think you could say it's similar to Jack Bech, but I mean, is Jack Bech fully ready where you could trade Jakobi Myers and he's placed Jakobi Myers right now? I mean, I don't think so. I mean, Dante Thornton, I think he had that great catch and everything, but I mean, he got locked up on that release, and I don't know how open he's going to get over and over and over and over again, that you can trust him down to down, even though he's making some plays in the preseason. Like that's what I'm kind of worried about. If you're going to go that route, is do you really trust Dante Thornton that much that you feel like that you could just go out there, he can just run every route? Because Jakobi Myers can run every route. Jakobi Myers, he can win deep too. We saw it plenty on film. When I'm breaking down some of these guys, you see him win deep. You see him win in different ways, outside, inside. I think he showed it a lot last year. I thought him winning outside when he had the chance to play outside was something that you really didn't see a lot from him throughout his career. And I think he showed that last year, that he could be that versatile guy, that you got to take him a little bit more seriously than kind of just, we're going to go out there and, put anybody out there. Like, I think he showed a lot more than what you would really expect from him, in my opinion, that he kind of took that step, that he shows he can run every route and he can do everything you want as an outside receiver and do whatever you want as an inside receiver, that you got to take him seriously. So, if you just let him walk like that, then yeah, you could do that after a year. And I maybe feel like you could work something out with Jack Bech, maybe, but I think right now, even looking at the next 2 years, I think he should make that happen and allow Jack Bech to naturally grow and become that wide receiver. But that's my opinion.
Yeah. I kind of feel like if you're the Raiders, like the ideal situation is like a 2-year contract. It's like a 2-year extension. I just don't know if he's going to be willing to do that. If I'm him, I might take a chance and bet on myself and see if I can get like a 3 or 4 year deal on the open market in the off season. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Somebody asked, aren't most players asking to be traded still end up with the team? Well, yeah, I always remember when Chad Ochocinco got mad because he tried to ask for a trade for the Bengals like in 2008 or something like that. And he said, if you're not a quarterback, then they'll trade you. Because then Carson Palmer asked for a trade 2 years later. He's on the Raiders.
So Carson Palmer did retire, if you remember.
He's asking for a trade, though. He got it.
Yeah,
he did. Chad Ochocinco did not get that trade, right? So that's just a super interesting thing. But he said also
it is a big negotiation leverage most of the time. It's almost a publicity stunt, but
yeah, Schechter made it sound like nobody wants to pay him, so teams want Raiders to pay part of this year's salary in the trade. It sounds like the Steelers. When I heard that, I'm like, oh, that's the Steelers.
Yeah.
One of the cheap old school teams that says, yeah, we don't want to pay him now.
I thought Schefter's tweet said that the Raiders wanted the other team to take on more of his salary or something like that. Or did I misunderstand that?
Yeah, I remember he said that he wanted the team to kind of take on the salary, like pay a little bit of it this year, and then they probably decide they'll work something out. But when I hear that, I think of Packers, Steelers, because those are old school teams that are like, we don't pay full guarantees, we don't do this and that, and we want you to pay. We want to work it out like that. So those are two teams that he would upgrade those positions. I mean, I know the Packers got Matthew Golden, but he's still a rookie. And I think, Jordan Love doesn't have somebody that could really throw to. And then, the Steelers don't have a shifty guy right now that can get open. They got DK Metcalf. They don't have that. You don't have a shifty wide receiver that can kind of get open a little bit. So there might be a couple teams that might look into him, but it is weird. And then of course, there's a Patriots rumor for Kyle Duggar, which I thought was a funny rumor because I'm like, why would they trade for Jamal Adams when they already have Jamal Adams? That seems like a weird trade. I mean, we're gonna go get a linebacker safety after, so we're just gonna be a bunch of linebackers at safety. We're just gonna play linebackers. I mean,
and put Jeremy Chin in the box too.
Jeremy Chin, Kyle Duggar, Jamal Adams on the field at the same time. I don't think anybody ever thought that. So that was an interesting trade rumor. I was like, man, that makes no sense. I mean. So, why would we have Jamal Adams? But that's rumors. It would make sense in the head. If you went to the Raiders roster, and you're like, oh, okay, they need a safety. He used to play with the Patriots, Kyle Duggar. There you go. Rumor.
Yeah. I mean, it has to just be the Josh McDaniels connection, I imagine.
Yeah. It's just simple, kind of stupid rumors there. All right. Did you guys listen to the presser with Amari Cooper? What are your thoughts?
I did not listen to it.
I saw some clips from it. I did like he said that basically Pete Carroll told him I won 10 plus games, what did it say, 9 times, and 9 plus games 11 times. Yeah. Yes. I mean, because he's true. He's right though. I mean, Pete Carroll does not really usually lose more than 9 games. I mean, Geno Smith has never lost more than 9 games, and that's why I think they're going to be around 8 or 9. I know some people are, trying to go 6 or 7, but that would just be not something that Pete Carroll team does. So you're kind of betting against him a little bit because they're going to find maybe stupid ways to win because he's just a good coach. You know what I mean? And he's a pretty good situationally. He's one of those guys. I mean, of course, the 4th down thing, and we'll see how that goes. But I think they'll be a little bit more aggressive this year there. I think hopefully I have a change there. But he just out-coaches other people. So I think that's something that people are missing with him. But we'll see. We'll see how that goes. I mean, no, I'm not saying they even make the playoffs because, talking about the Steelers love to steal that 7th spot. So that's what you're fighting. You're fighting for Mike Tomlin,
But you can't trade Jakobi to the Steelers. You're going to be competing for the 7th spot.
Yeah. I mean, it's true.
You can't make the competition better.
That 7th spot is just made for the Steelers. When they sneak in, they get that 10-7. They really shouldn't be there. Then they get blown out the first round. That's for the Steelers. It's really built that way. But we'll see what happens with the Raiders when they try to finish off with that. All right. Anything else before we get to this list? Because then we talk about Amari Cooper a little bit when we talk about the wide receiver room, I guess. Because it's a big deal, right? But I don't think there's anything else. I got another questions. I'll try to miss the questions, anything. All right. Let's do this, man. Share screen. Position by position breakdown. All right. Can we see it? How well can you see it? Let me zoom in a little bit, right?
Yeah, zoom in a little bit. It's up there, but could use some.
How about now?
Yeah, that's better.
Okay, let me do one more. Little zoom here. Okay. All right. So let's start off with quarterback here. Let me get in my scroll up here so you can see that. So quarterback. So interesting way to put it here, but you figured Geno Smith would be at the top. But hey,
I think it's alphabetical, obviously. But what I don't get, I don't know. Maybe someone I haven't listened to Pete Carroll's press conference yet. Did he? So maybe I don't know, Marcus, if you did, if someone in the chat listened to it and he explained this. Why didn't they put Aiden O'Connell on IR?
Yeah,
that's what doesn't make sense to me about the Kenny Pickett trade. It's if O'Connell was going to be I'm assuming that he didn't go on IR because they think he might be able to come back before he'd be able to return, right? Because I think it's 4 weeks, right? If you start the season on IR and you're designated to return, if you thought he could come back and ahead of that time, why do you trade a 5th round pick for Kenny Pickett?
Yeah, 5th.
And then risk potentially losing Cam Miller. I would think if you were gonna if you thought Aiden O'Connell was gonna come back within the first month of the season, then why not just try and claim somebody off waivers or pick somebody off the street that can serve as your backup and protect Cam Miller from having to be on the field, then give up a draft pick for Kenny Pickett. It doesn't make sense to me. I don't know. Did you hear anything? Did he explain that? Anyone ask him about that?
I didn't see any explanation of that. I thought it was interesting. The 5th round pick was. I was like, man, really a 5th round pick for Kenny Pickett? I feel like that's for. Couldn't you use it like on some safety that was out there? I feel like there's a better way to use that, right? And that was a thought process in my head when I saw that. But my thought process changed on it a little bit, and I'm not saying I agree that it was making this high of a pick. I think it was more about one, Cam Miller and Aiden O'Connell getting demoted. Because Cam Miller gets cut, Aiden O'Connell gets demoted to 3rd. I think that's more about that than because Aiden O'Connell didn't play well in the preseason, and really either did Cam Miller, right? I mean, Cam Miller played well week 1. Aiden O'Connell really didn't play well at all, and I think that's what this is more about, because I think Cam Miller, he's going to get put in the practice squad. Hopefully, that's what they hope, right? I think he might. I mean, just the film he put out there, I think he's going to get there. Right. Yeah. I don't think he put out good film at all, in my opinion. Even when you go back and watch this last game and then the game before that, I think the film kind of started to catch up with himself. His arm is just not good enough. So they're going to put him on the practice squad. But they're like, okay, we could bring in like a rag-a-tag guy. It's going to be better than Aiden O'Connell. Or the Aiden O'Connell will come back and be the backup. Or they're like, or we could just upgrade the backup position altogether. And that's what they did. I feel like, but I still don't agree. A 5th, in my opinion, is high for Kenny Pickett. I mean, if I'm Kenny Pickett, I'm like 2026 conditional 7th. You know what I mean? I don't know.
I didn't mind the 5th-round pick as much because I thought like, oh yeah, you got to have they're gonna need a backup. Like Gino's getting older. Like they want to have a quality backup in there. It's just what I don't get though is then like what's the point of keeping O'Connell on the roster if you're demoting Aiden O'Connell to QB3? Why not just cut him? Like I know he's under contract next year too, but like he's obviously not your long-term solution at quarterback.
Yeah.
Like you're just keeping him around to keep him as like a backup, like a long-term, like another year for a backup next season. Like it just doesn't make any sense to me. Like that's where it lost. That's where the Kenny Pickett trade loses me a little bit. It's like, all right, well, so they're not moving on from O'Connell. They're going to like use a roster spot that could have gone to someone else, could have gone to one of these other rookies or whatever, or someone that, hey, man, might end up getting claimed off waivers, or a guy like Terrell Edmonds who will probably, I'd imagine, probably back on the practice squad anyway. But I'm just having a hard time wrapping my head around that. And that, to me, like makes the like Pickett trade look a little bit worse. If like the fact that they did it to bring in another quarterback, well, they have a guy that's kind of going nowhere with the organization.
Yeah.
And they just keep him around. Like, maybe they flip O'Connell for a 5th and get that pick back or something later in the season. But you're telling me this guy's going to be injured. You're telling me he's going to be out for 6 to 8 weeks. You don't put him on injured reserve. Like I understood needing to get a backup quarterback because Aiden O'Connell wasn't healthy, but why is he making the roster? It's weird to me. Just love that explanation.
Yeah, it is weird. It is weird that he made the roster too. And that's what I'm saying. Like I thought they were going to put him on AR and keep Cam Miller, but yeah, to me, I think it was that this probably might have happened anyways. Like even if Aiden O'Connell got hurt, that's kind of how I feel about it when he's still there and he's 3rd and he's on IR. Like, would this happen anyways?
You're saying like they would have made him the QB3, like no matter what. I mean, but then like goes back to my point of why not just cut him? Like why waste the roster spot?
It's good point, man. I mean, a lot of teams do keep 3 quarterbacks, maybe that's what they want to do, but. I do feel like that it was just this was like something that was gonna happen, because even to give up a 5th for Kenny Pickett, like, and I see my dude say, he's saying that it makes sense. He's making it rational for me, but still, it's just like when you see 5th-round pick for Kenny Pickett, and you might see some other player that's around here is gonna get taken for 5th-round pick. It's like a quality like depth player. You know what I mean? You're like. Ugh. We don't want Kenny to play though. See, this is the thing. Like, if we go get it, spend a 5th on like the corner from
plays.
Yeah, for like exactly. So like the corner from the Commanders, who is on the trade market, right? Who I think is a good player, can play inside the slot, and they need a slot corner. You give him a 5th for him, like hey, that's okay. I get it. He was picking like the 2nd round, 5th round, great value for him, right? Like this is like, it's just like, man, we don't want him to play though.
I do get that. Like you give up a 5th-round pick for a guy you literally hope in a best case scenario never sees the field. I get that a little bit. But I think the silver lining is, and like I saw Vinny be tweeting this out, like they're likely gonna get a 4th round comp back for Trevon Merrick, and then they'll likely get a 5th for Nate Hobbs. So it's not that big of a deal at the end of the day. And again, you just wanted to secure that backup spot, but it is funny to like be like, yeah, we gave up a pick for a guy that we hope never plays.
Yeah. It doesn't say that's what Saeed talking about, but I'm just saying, like, man, it's just when you see it and you feel it, because I was doing a podcast with Glenn for his channel, and when I heard about it, and then I got a text from my dude Mir, and he was telling me about it, and I was like, because he couldn't believe it was a 5th too, and I was like, wait, it was a 5th? I couldn't believe it. I was like, wait a second. I literally trade for Kenny Pickett. I'm like, oh yeah, it's a conditional 7th round pick, like 2026.
I don't remember what the deal was. I'm curious what the deal was for the Browns to get Kenny Pickett. I think there were like multiple picks, but yeah, it is funny.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, man. Must want some competition for that QB spot, I guess. So, it's always compete, guys.
Compete even when you might not see the field. Even when we hope you don't see the field.
Yeah. Same question. Is Kenny Pickett for sure better than AOC?
He's better.
You think so? Yeah.
He's better. He can throw to the intermediate set part of the field. He is accurate, and he can throw on the run pretty well, and he moves.
Yeah, it's just you're just not going to score any touchdowns. Like the Steelers did not score any touchdowns. So I think he threw 6 touchdown passes in 3 years.
He's got I think he has 14 touchdowns and 15 picks. Yeah, that's.
Yeah, he started 2 seasons. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, he's not a touchdown thrower. He can't move the chains.
Yeah.
He's a good West Coast quarterback. I'll say that.
Mm-hmm. And he can move and things like that.
Yeah.
So I do think he's a little bit better than O'Connell, but I mean not by too much. You know what I mean? That's what I would say. Not by too much, but enough for this system. He's a better fit for what Chip Kelly likes to do. The pistol, all those things, making moves, even making sure when they do those zone read exchanges that the quarterback might keep it. I mean, there's a chance of that because Geno Smith's going to keep it a couple times this year, right? Because you got to keep teams honest with that. You can't do that in O'Connell. Nobody believes you.
No one thinks Barba's keeping the ball.
No. And I, people talk about his record in Kenny Pickett, and I know Matt Canada was terrible. I agree with that. But you watched the film with him. But yes, speak on what you saw on film from a little bit, Matt.
Yeah, so I touched on a little bit. I mean, the short to intermediate accuracy is pretty good. He's pretty on time a lot. He doesn't have a strong arm. There's definitely a few balls where you're kind of waiting for it to get there. But what he does pretty well is he throws on time and throws with good anticipation, to where he can beat coverage on some of those curl routes and slants and stuff like that. The one thing I will say about that is he does have a tendency to just lock on those pre-snap read and just throw it. And so if you're kind of sitting on him, that's where some of those picks start to happen.
Yeah.
And then on top of it too, he throws on the run pretty damn well. I think he actually might have more arm strength and have a better deep ball on the run than he does standing from the pocket. If you follow some of those clips, I posted, if you guys want to check out my timeline, there's one throw that he threw to Grant Calcaterra. I think I'm saying that right, for the tight end 2 for the Eagles last year, where he's on the run, just flicks his wrist and throws a perfect back shoulder ball 30 yards down the field. And I'm sitting there, I'm like, dude, where the fuck is that from the clean pocket? It is weird. And he is one of those guys where we talk about it a lot that have the weaker arms, where if he's not on time, his deep ball's up. His deep ball is gonna be ugly. And it's gonna be as a threat to get picked. There was one play that he actually completed, but it was one hell of an adjustment by AJ Brown. He just threw it way too late. And then again, just not someone that's going to be able to throw consistently deep. And he is good on the run. The one thing I am concerned about is he does to bail out of clean pockets. And he doesn't have a great feel for pressure. He's been sacked a bunch, and the little hands that leads to a lot of strip sacks and fumbles. And I think his ball security in the pocket's still a question mark. So definitely not obviously plenty flawed, but he is, I said, he's a good guy that can move the chains from down to down. And I think he is a good fit with Chip Kelly because, what we saw a lot from Chip Kelly, especially in the preseason, was a lot of that quick game stuff. And then, a shot every now and again, which very much a West Coast style offense. And I think too, if Chip can get him out on some bootlegs and stuff like that, that'll be his good for him and his development. Again, if he ends up needing to play on Sundays, which obviously we hope that doesn't mean. I hope he doesn't, because that means Geno's hurt. But he is a solid backup. I say of the backups, he's one of the top tier. Put it that way.
Yeah. It says, is his mobility overrated? Like, is he mobile the same way Minshew is mobile?
Minshew, no. I get that direct comparison. I was thinking that I'm like, man, I got to be careful about how I say this around Raider fans because we're scarred. No, he's a more athletic than Gardner Minshew. Gardner Minshew thought he was athletic.
Yeah, that's my big thing.
Kenny Pickett actually is athletic.
Yeah.
He can actually move and navigate the pocket pretty well. But
is Pickett still wearing the gloves during games because of his hand size? Yeah, I think so, right?
He wore them last year.
Yeah. So maybe Raiders are hoping AOC can heal and come back and provide any trade value. Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
Fifth round pick back.
I mean, it might have been Chip's. It might have been Chip's call because, like I said, he is a fit. You know what I mean?
Say what?
Yeah. Somebody asked if it was Chip Kelly's call.
Oh, could have been. Yeah, could have been someone he liked.
Yeah, and I guess it's my transition. How sad am I about Sincere? It's just a little transition here to running back. This is a good transition question here. All right, so running back room. We got Ashton Jeanty, Dylan Lobby, Raheem Mostert, and Zamir White. What are your thoughts, Matt? I do want to answer the question. Yes, I am sad about that, but keep going.
I was going to say that's the big omission. I talked about it the other day. I would have liked to see Sincere McCormick make the team over like a Zamir White, maybe even Raheem Mostert, although I do get it with Mostert because he brings something a little bit different to this running back room. But yeah, that's the tough one to swallow, and I kind of knew it. We all knew it was coming.
Yeah.
But yeah, just the way he played last season, like again, it was a small sample size. I just wanted to see what he could do with the bigger workload. That was kind of the big thing for me. But this is what I expected it to be with the way the last few weeks were played out in the preseason. Like I think Sincere had like 10 carries in the entire preseason, so the writing was pretty much on the wall. Lobby offers you some special teams value, can also catch the ball out of the backfield, and then Mostert, like I said, can catch the ball too. And then on top of it, that outside zone, your outside run back, and Zamir, you're between the tackle guys, your gap run, your short yardage guy. But at the end of the day, I think we know who's getting the lion's share of carries, and that's the number 6 pick of the draft. Yeah.
It's gonna be most of the Ashton Jeanty sort of show anyway, so it's just kind of a weird conversation, to have around the back of running backs a little bit. But I thought Zamir White looked good against. He looked really good. He looked good against Cardinals because, of course, we have a smart offensive coordinator who was like, you know what? Let me have some pulling guards, and here's Zamir White just not really having to have vision because even like the good run he had, the one good run he had, like one of them. I mean, a couple good runs that game. He was pretty consistent, but like one of them, like you could see the vision issue was still an issue because if he had great vision, he probably just would have scored. But he ended up he had patience hitting the hole, but then he like the vision outside of the hole where it was designed was still not there a little bit. So you kind of see like he's just gonna be like a bowling ball type of thing. So I think that what happened to Sincere McCormick too was just the rise of Zamir White. We all thought going into Zamir White's done after the kind of shitty year he had last year. We all thought Zamir White was done, and I think the rise of Zamir White back to being a legitimate running back too is the type of thing that I think that kind of took McCormick out of it too, because we all assumed that it was going to be Mostert, McCormick, and Jeanty just because how McCormick played last year and how White played last year. But White is still, from a talent perspective, is still just naturally bigger and faster and more talented than Sincere McCormick. Somebody in the chat said McCormick can't break tackles, but that's not true. I saw him throw Nick Bolton to the ground. Nick Bolton got paid a whole lot of money, but he literally threw his face into the ground in the game. I was like, do you guys remember to watch these games? And he broke like a bunch of tackles on checkdowns. In preseason too. So he could break tackles. I mean, even the run against the Bucks. I mean, he broke like 3 tackles and took a he spinned off some guy and took it a 30 yards. So I mean, he averaged 5.5 yards per carry last year, when he got his chance to play. So that's why, you wanted to see more of that. But it makes sense in my head, if Zamir White, since, like I said, he's the bigger, he's faster, he was a more revered prospect. If he comes in there, they find a way to make him more comfortable and get that talent out of him, and he's a hard worker and all those things. Yeah, you can see the rise of him and kind of him getting his spot back, because that's what this is more about than anything about McCormick, in my opinion. Because they thought they paid Moser a lot of money, so they expected Moser to happen, but the rise of Zamir White has a lot to do with Sincere McCormick not being there.
Yeah, and he might be just one of those guys that's just better as the RB2 than he is as the feature back. Like, obviously, last year we found out he's not capable of being the RB1, but he might just have like his one or two things that he's good at, and he just gets really good at those two things, and he ends up having a decent career as a second ball carrier and just never ends up being a feature back. But yeah, and who knows? I mean, reason why we were hyped on Zamir going into last season is because he finished the season strong in 2023. So maybe we get a little bit more of that guy with the better scheme fit and a better play caller for him.
Yeah. So, yeah, like I said, last year was more about, which just pissed me off, is them going zone with him. Like, if they went power last year with him, I mean, we wouldn't be having this conversation about Sincere McCormick. That's the thing. Yeah. And he's just really a scheme back that needs the right scheme. And if it's not that scheme, he's not going to run well. And that's just how it goes with him. And we've learned that so far throughout his career. I mean, when he was in a power system, he looked pretty damn good. I mean, he had 200-yard games. He's kind of basically part of the reason why they beat the Chiefs in Arrowhead, in the defense, and him being able to run the football, running for like 130 yards in that game, having some big runs to end the game. That was all a factor in that, because the system he was running. And then when you could try to get him to read things and be outside zone, it's just not gonna work. It's not gonna work for him. So, and I think a lot of it too is that they're going to run more power, because Ashton Genty, obviously that's his thing too. When they do power and he's running downhill, he's a monster. That's what he's best, and that's where his vision, his patience, all those things come together when that happens. So, yeah. Trying to see if any questions here before we get to wide receivers. Somebody asked, do you think Pickett has a potential as a future starter? I mean, hopefully not for the Raiders. That's what I would say.
He's on a contract year too, because the Browns didn't pick up his 5th-year option, obviously. So it's likely no.
Yeah. Do you think Mozart still has anything left in the tank, though? Not that much. I was told that he played pretty well last week. But I just didn't. I got to go deep dive to that film so much. I really haven't deep dive into that third preseason game. I'm gonna be honest with you guys.
You shouldn't.
No, I watched like Zamir White, and I watched like a lot of the second team, a little bit in the second quarter, but I haven't probably should. I'll do a little more deep dive in there, because I'm gonna do Zamir White for memberships, but just how he looks, I wanted to put a breakdown of that for him. But yeah, so I need to kind of maybe go look and see exactly how he did. But I just didn't see too much. I didn't think he played well against 49ers. So that's why I thought that there's a chance that McCormick still could make it. But Moser was brought in to be the running back too. You know what I mean? And when McCormick played so late in the preseason game on week 3, I was like, oh yeah, he's done.
Yeah, he's done.
Yeah. You can tell Chip wants to punish teams in the running game with Genty and Zeus. Yeah, for sure. Is Darnay Holmes our slot corner? And also, do you think you pick up somebody else off waivers or roster cuts?
I think someone floating around, Beanie Bishop, who got cut last year and was a decent slot corner for the Steelers last season.
Yeah.
I think Caillou Blue Kelly's probably going to take that role more often. I don't know. He did play a lot on the outside during the preseason, though, which was kind of surprising. I also think they're going to we're going to see them go a little bit more old school, and the starters are going to be more base personnel with 3 linebackers. That's what they did a lot in the preseason. That's what it sounds like it was happening a lot in training camp. So I hope not. I guess what I'm alluding to, but he does seem like he probably is the favorite in the heading into the season, if that's going to be his role specifically. If Caillou's going to stick on the outside and stuff like that, because they don't have another one on the roster. So Yeah, maybe they try and scoop somebody up on waivers like a Beanie Bishop or someone. Mike Hilton, still pounding that drum. The dream's still alive. Mike Hilton's still available. Got cut from the Dolphins.
I think somebody was looking at him. The Colts, because the Colts got Lou, right? I think is that what it is.
Yeah, but they have Kenny Moore in the.
Wherever Lou is, wherever he went.
I think he went to Lou. I think he went to Colts. I think he might be right on that.
Yeah, but they do have Kenny Moore. Hey, take my help. You know, Wilson we got all these fifths we have this fourth and fifths from these comp picks to give up. Give up a fourth for Kenny Moore. Shit. Yeah, he's signing with the Colts.
Yeah. I would imagine he would want to keep Kenny Moore. But if Kenny Moore is available,
yeah, I mean,
pick up the phone, John. Pick up the phone.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, yeah, he's not a system fit since Gus Bradley's gone here or something. I don't know. We could just, yeah, we give up a fifth for Kenny Pickett. Might as well give up a fourth for Kenny Moore. I don't, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? All right, let's talk about wide receivers. I'm gonna save your guys' questions here. So keep asking your questions. I'm saving them. All right, but wide receiver, we got Jack Best and Amari Cooper. Interesting.
Return.
Right, Jakobi Myers, Dante Thornton Jr., and Trey Tucker. So they only kept 5. I mean, technically they only kept 4. Let's keep it real. And then they added back Cooper.
Yeah.
Only kept 4, to be honest. And then, it went and signed Amari. So what are your thoughts on this?
I mean, I'll be honest. I've loved Amari Cooper since his days at Alabama. He was one of my favorite college wide receivers, and I loved him in the draft. Was pounding the table hard for the Raiders to draft him. What was that, 2015, when they had the number 4 over pick, and was super excited. Funny story, I ended up getting blacked out that night because I was so excited. My college buddies can tell you more about that night than I can. So yeah, I'm stoked that he's back. That being said, and I saw you tweet about this, I did watch him play for Buffalo last year. I still think he's a very good route runner and a technician and all that stuff. I don't know how much explosiveness is left in that in those legs. He did not look like he was separating quite as easily as he did in his early days with the Raiders, and then those good years with the Cowboys. And he had good years with the Browns too. That is the one thing, like, you can hang it like I know Raider fans love to hate on Amari Cooper and whatnot because the way things ended and everything. But there's one thing about him that throughout his career is he's been consistent. Like, you go back and look at like his stats, like it's like he's like up there. I mean, Mike Evans has gone past him, but he's up there of like being 1,000-yard receiver like every single year. Even the year he got traded from the Raiders and he had that slow start to the year, went to Dallas and ended up hitting the ground running and still eclipsed 1,000 yards. So he's been a consistent producer throughout his career. It's just last season was rough. So
yeah. I mean, on film it was real disappointing to see. I thought he was gonna retire after watching that film. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Really?
Yeah, I thought he was gonna retire because I think it was just times where you could see that. I don't know what injury he had. I think it was a hamstring, but he seems like one of those guys that when they run like routes the way he does, right, which is like really crisp on the ankles and like the hamstrings and all that, all his legs, you kind of just feel like he's having that Ocho Cinco kind of moment where like that's what happened to Ocho Cinco, because Ocho Cinco was like one of the original kind of shaky route runners, right? Like where he's doing all these moves. He kind of brought that to the forefront of being a wide receiver, is and his ankles just eventually gave out on him. Because when you're pressing like that all the time and you're making all those moves, your ankles just start to give out on you, and all those things just start to happen. And I felt like he was kind of looking like Ocho Cinco a little bit at the end of his career. But I think overall, though, if you can get him inside, and I think that's the point that the Raiders should do, is probably try to move him inside a little bit and and kind of move him around and use him as an option. It is interesting that he is on this roster because Dante Thornton's gonna be out there to basically block too. I mean, that's what Thornton's there because he's a big blocking wide receiver too. He's making big blocks, and Trey Tucker too is out there. And you got Jakobi Myers is out there too as well. I just think it makes him more versatile and gives him a lot more depth. But I think they're gonna pass a little bit more than we think too. A little bit like I think it's gonna be one of those things where they come out passing and then they run the ball at the end of the game, kind of like analytical type of things where like they're passing in the first half and then run the ball in the second half, since they have that grinder running back. They're going to mix play action with it, of course. But yeah, I mean, when you look at that room, man, it looks pretty damn good in my opinion. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, that's not a bad wide receiver room. You're not gonna say like maybe there's not a superstar there anymore, but there's a lot of potential. And of course Jakobi Myers is a steady guy, and then you have Trey Tucker who might have a breakout year himself. Who looks he's just sharp in his routes and everything. He looks a lot sharper just running everything. But yeah, I really like what this looks like just from this 5. But it is kind of funny. We said they kept 5. We're like, no, really, they kept 4, and then added
rostered 5
because Cooper was not a camp. They kept 4, which is interesting. But yeah,
and maybe that's a good thing for Cooper, like you're talking about. If he's having lower body issues and getting up there in age, like maybe taking a month off and letting his body heal up a little bit and not taking that wear and tear ends up being better for him. But I think I can see. I think the room has a ton of potential. You just have 3 guys who are unproven in Dante Thornton, Trey Tucker, and Jack Betts that like just makes you uneasy about it. Like, are all 3 of those guys going to hit this year? Chances say no, and then you have Amari Cooper, who's like we said, past his prime, and that's where I get a little bit shaky. Where my comments at the beginning of the show kind of show up. It was like you have 3 wild cards that hey, they could hit and be great players for you. They could also bust, and then you're sitting there, relying on Jakobi to be the guy, be the best guy in the room, which he's gonna have to be.
Yeah. Before you just check out some more questions here, should have kept Leahy Toski over Munford? He legit had better preseason reps.
He did. My question for you is, who's going to play swing tackle?
Yeah, that's.
I like Munford was awful in the preseason. I like literally. I wrote this and I tweeted this out. Like there was a point in the game where Jordan Birch like just destroyed him, bull rushed him into Aiden O'Connell. And I think it was the play that Aiden O'Connell got hurt on.
Yeah,
and I literally sat there and rethought every Thayer Munford take I've ever had, every positive one, because it was like, holy shit, this is bad. It reminded me a lot of like the situation Andres Pete was in last year, where like. Remember with Andres Pete, like he looked like dog shit in the preseason. And I was sitting there like, is Andres Pete's going to get cut? But they needed a veteran tackle to turn to off the bench, and that's basically what happened with Thayer Munford. And I like he's just regressed. I don't know another way to put it. Where like you're now like the only reason why he made the team to me is because he was the only veteran backup tackle option that they had, and Charles Grant showed growth in the preseason, but is not ready for action. And I think that's why he ended up making the roster. Like, I think if there was, like, I wasn't paying enough attention. Like, I think if there was like a decent tackle that could fill that swing tackle role, it would not surprise me if they ended up moving on from Thayer Munford after the fact.
Yeah, I agree with that. All right. I'll kind of get to some of these questions because these questions are like kind of foreshadowing and kind of already talk about. And we're already like 40 minutes in here. So these things. All right. Yeah. Brock Bowers, Michael Mayer, Ian Thomas, tight ends. I mean, great tight end room. Let's just say that. That's one of the best tight ends in football. I don't care what everybody says. And, and we talk about like, the 5 wide receivers that are here. I mean, but like there's 2 guys right there to take targets from them.
Yeah.
These guys right
Makes a little more sense why you only roster 5 wideouts.
Yeah. These guys are getting a lot. These guys need to get some targets this year. Let's keep it real. I think that's why the tight ends are there. So offensive line, which of course, I gotta maybe zoom out a little. Yeah. There we go. You see it? I gotta zoom out one more time. Can you see it?
It's like you're cutting off like 1 or 2 names. Yeah,
okay.
Like right now Rogers is cut off, but
yeah, Caleb Rogers. So we'll go up. So Caleb Rogers, Jackson Powers Johnson, of course, Will Putnam, which I want to talk about.
That was a surprise.
I want to talk about that in a second. Dylan Parham, Thayer Munford Jr., Colton Miller, Jordan Meredith, Charles Grant, DJ Glaze, Alex Kappa. So they have how many tackles? So you got 1, 2, 3, 4 tackles. You got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 interior. Okay, so they're keeping Munford because you couldn't keep Dalton Wagner. But now I was trying to look at see who's available at tackle. That got cut, and I don't know. Maybe they might pick up one of these guys. I mean, I don't know. Is La'el Collins still good? Is he sucking?
La'el Collins hasn't played in like
Oh,
years.
Okay. Well, why is he getting the cut list? Why is I was like,
because he re-signed with the Cowboys this offseason, but I think it's been like 2 or 3 years since he actually saw like regular season action.
I mean, that still might be an upgrade then over there at Mumford. I'm not gonna lie. Let me see here. So, Will Putnam really means that Jackson Powers Johnson's not playing center this year. So I really like, so he's not playing center. So because they literally kept a backup center.
Yeah, that was my big takeaway too. Is like they must not trust JPJ to play center. Like there's something there that they just don't like about that, because again, you move Meredith there. Meredith's your starting center, who's never played center except for a couple preseason games, a handful of preseason snaps, and like you said, keep Will Putnam, who's your backup center, instead of just rostering 9 linemen, and then moving like something happens to Meredith, you just move JPJ over. Very clearly, they want to keep JPJ at guard, which is interesting.
Very, because I don't think Will Putnam really played well in the preseason. To be honest,
that was my thing too. Like I never gave him a second thought when I did like my 53-man projections, because I'm like, he hasn't been playing that well. I know he got hype in camp last season, but I feel like I didn't hear anything about him this year. And then, all of a sudden, surprise, he's on the team.
Yeah. Because I don't know, they have 6 interior players, right? They have 6 interior guards.
Yeah,
full right. Yeah.
They have a full 2 deep on the O line, which is a little bit unique.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. They're like 2 deep at like every position, which is not something you usually see. Like a lot of teams, sometimes they'll keep 8. Because
you have your swing tackle and your guy that can play either guard spot and maybe a center.
Because if you have 3 injuries at your offensive line, you're probably you're a little fucked anyways. It's kind of like
well, you usually only dress, I think, 8 anyway. If you look at like the active rosters.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're completely fucked if you're down 3 offensive linemen. It's not like you're gonna.
Just ask the Browns last year how that worked out for them.
Yeah, but. It's just interesting. It's just because that's what I'm saying. Like usually you don't keep 2 centers a lot of the times, because there's always another guy who can play center on your team. Yeah, and that's just something that's different than what I've usually, what you usually see. You know what I mean? And
what's weird about that too is Dylan Parham can also play center.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
But I guess he did showed something in practice. Putnam, that is.
Yeah. You were saying Trent Brown. Is Trent Brown available?
Good old Trent. Ooh. Depends on the shape he's in.
Yeah. Did you hear about Incognito interview about JPJ? Basically, he'd be lost with calling things out. They trust Meredith, maybe. Oh, they played pretty well last year with him.
Yeah. I mean, JPJ said that's like his favorite part about playing center, but maybe he's just not actually good at it. I don't know. Maybe Meredith was the one making the calls and correcting them or something. I don't know. I did not see that. Yeah. That's interesting.
Maybe. I don't know. I don't know what's happening behind there, but they're trying to send a message to us for real. Yeah. I think he got lucky that Alex Kappa got hurt.
Too. Yeah, because it was I remember. We kind of brushed it off at the time. Even in like the spring, they kind of like mentioned, I think it might have been like right after the draft, they mentioned like, oh yeah, all 3 spots are available. I'm like, all right, yeah, JPJ is going to be starting center. We're not buying that BS. And then they stuck true to their word. And you know what? If you're JPJ, you're like, you got to be sitting there and looking at the money and seeing the going on overthecap.com and seeing the money that guards are getting compared to centers. You might say, you know what? I'll stay dumb.
Yeah. To be honest, right?
I'll make an extra cool $5 million a year.
Exactly. Also, it's funny. It started off as a battle between Meredith and Johnson, and Meredith must have won that battle like in 3 days, because they're like, okay, all right, he's the center. You're gonna battle Kappa now.
Yeah, that was like the storyline for like the first week of pads. Yeah, you're right. And then like Meredith was just the starting center for the rest of it. I think that did kind of time up with Kappa getting injured a little bit, but yeah, it was very weird.
Yeah. Meredith won that job really quickly. I mean, that wasn't too much competition there. All right, defensive line. I got to zoom back out here. You can kind of get the kind of. All right. I'll just go down here. So we got Booker, Butler, Crosby, Fotu, which was interesting, Hemingway, Kuntz, Jonah Lalu, JJ Puggies, and Charles Snowden and Tyree Wilson. So what are your thoughts on this group, Matt?
The first one that stands out is Fotu. I thought for sure he was getting cut after he basically missed like 3 weeks of training camp. He didn't play until this past season, and I felt like he's coming back to play because he's got to make the friggin' team or build his resume for someone else. But that to me told me that they do want like a true nose tackle, and they don't think Pegues is ready for that role yet. Because keeping Fotu over like a Zach Carter, who was also a good run defender and but more of that like 3 technique mold, that told me like Fotu. They want Fotu at nose. They want that big nose tackle, and he's going to be their guy. I will say he played pretty damn well in the last preseason game.
Okay,
ran against Scrubs, but when that was like the only sample size, I'm like, I don't know, I couldn't trust it. And like, if you want to sell yourself on Fotu, do not go to his PFF profile. That is there's going to be a lot of red on that. And like he didn't really play last season, so that was the one that like really stuck out to me. Like, holy shit, Leaky Fotu actually made this team. The other one that was stood out that wasn't like huge, I kind of had a feeling this might come, was I kind of thought Andre Carter played a lot better in the preseason than Charles Snowden did. So I was kind of rooting for Carter to end up making the team, and then he ended up one of the guys cut on Monday. So that one was interesting to me, but that one's minor. And now we're talking about the 4th defensive end. Like, I'm not going to lose sleep over that guy. So
I think Patrick Graham must love Charles Snowden because he has really hung around with Patrick Graham. He must be a Patrick Graham guy. That's what I think he is, because he has some kind of suspension coming, doesn't he? I heard he got a suspension coming.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, because he get the DUI.
Mm.
Yeah, that was at the end of last year, right? That was at like Christmas time, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
NFL might not even care about him because who's Charles Snowden?
They're like, oh, he's still in the league.
He's like, get out. He's like, have you done the Snowden one yet? He's like, who's Charles Snowden?
They're like, we're still trying to figure out what the hell's going on with Rashee Rice.
Yeah, we're waiting. The Snowden paperwork's been on your desk for like 3 weeks. He's like, yeah. Like, how often do backups get suspended? To be honest,
I forgot about that. Yeah,
Roger Goodell likes to send messages to starters. Like, he doesn't know who Charles Snowden is. Like,
no one's gonna give a shit if Charles Snowden gets suspended. Rashee Rice, that'll be noteworthy.
That's sitting on the desk. It's just sitting on the desk somewhere, just picking up dust, guys. These we're assuming a lot of things like that. They probably even forgot about it. Like, what? Who did this? Yeah. Anyways, all right. I saw a question that I missed. Ooh, here we go. Best cut player you'd like to add, regardless of need. That's a good question. That's why I was trying to look at these cut players, but there's just so many guys. But I was trying to look at these corners, man. It had to be like a corner or safety.
The guy that I'm looking at, Juju Brents.
Oh, yeah. Juju Brents.
34-inch arms.
Yeah.
And good ball skills. Like, that's a Pete Carroll corner. The problem is he can't stay healthy. Literally cannot stay healthy. Like, he's been in the league 2 years, and I think he's played like 6 games because he is injured all the freaking time and entered the draft. When he entered the draft, he was injured. Like, it was like one of those things where they found like an injury he had like at the combine or something like that.
Yeah.
But when we talk about this cornerback, someone asked about slot corner. Juju's not a slot corner, but I think they also have questions at outside. We're still trying to figure out who those starters are for week 1.
Yeah.
Like, I would take a chance on Juju Brents and try and add him to the roster. Like, again, not many options at nickel, but I would cut Darnay Holmes and see what Juju can do on the outside and see if he can compete with guys like Cameron Richardson, Darian Porter, and Kaibu Kelly and Eric Stokes too, to take over that role. Because like, if you look at Juju's profile, like, he didn't have a fast 40, but his 3-cone, like his change of direction stuff, like all that was like elite testing numbers, and he's 6'3". Again, with 34-inch arms. Like, to me, like, if Pete Carroll was that involved in the draft process in 2023, like, he had to see that and start salivating and wanted to put that claim in, because that's Pete Carroll's kind of guy.
Yeah. Was I advocating for signing Carl Lawson on Twitter, Marcus? No, I just thought the guy's tweet was funny because he was basically making fun of people how like, because Carl Lawson he said something about like something the Lions need or something, I don't know, and then Carl Lawson tweeted him, and then basically what happened is he acted like he was Jordan Schultz. because Carl Lawson retweeted him. Like he heard that information directly from Carl. I thought that was a funny tweet.
Gotcha.
But I saw Dane Jackson got cut from the Bills. He played some decent football for them. He's a long guy, but he's kind of slower. I was trying to see what the corners got cut, but yeah, man, it's just so many smaller guys. I like Marcus Epps. If we're talking about cuts guys, that's what I think is good.
Though I thought about that. I saw you tweet about him. I'm like, how bad was Marcus Epps last year? Remember, he had 7 missed tackles in 3 games last year.
Wait, is he still better depth here?
I might take my chances with Chris Smith.
you're like, no, I'm taking my chance, Chris Smith.
Yeah. Marcus Epps was rough last season, and he was at his peak. He's average. That's what I'll say.
Yeah, because I'm saving my question from JB had a question. I'm saving that for the secondary. Yeah, because he's right. That's pretty sad. We have to look at cut corners. Yeah, I mean, Jacoby Myers did not get cut from the Eagles. So that. All right. Linebackers: Jamal Adams, Tommy Eichenberg, Cody Lindenberg. Cody made the team over Matt Jones. All that Matt Jones talk, we were like,
that was a pleasant surprise, but it was a surprise because again,
they're a little smarter than we think. They're smarter than we think, Matt. That's what basically became here. When I saw Cody Lindenberg's name, I was like, and Matt Jones got cut. I was like, excuse me.
Cody Lindenberg also survived. Also made it longer than the 2 6th-round picks drafted ahead of him.
I know.
And Miller got cut. 7th rounder hanging on.
Somebody talk about Carter Warren. Who's Carter Warren? He's a 4th round pick. I gotta look at that name. Okay. So, Jermaine Pratt, Landon Roberts, Devin White. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, this is part of the reason, too, why I think they're going to run a lot more base personnel. I kind of figured they'd keep 6 linebackers. Part of it's special teams and new kickoff rules. I think that's linebackers come a little bit more valuable, especially if they're going to be returning more kicks. So it was one where I didn't see any surprises. Like we talked about before, Matt Jones was worrying both of us that he might end up making the team over Cody Lindenberg. Finally got that sentence out. But I think part of what did it is Lindenberg played pretty damn well against Arizona. And obviously we saw Matt Jones struggle throughout the preseason. So I wonder if that was the deciding factor between those two. I still kind of expect Jones to probably be back on the practice squad because if they did like him and he was like a decent athlete and stuff, like he's probably a guy that they're going to keep around.
Yeah.
I'm happy to see Lindenberg make it. I mean, you guys heard me talk about him a lot during the draft process. I think he legitimately has some starting potential down the line. And then Eichenberg making it too, like he again pointed him out in, what was it, week 2 of the preseason? Thought he played it better than a lot of people were giving him credit for. Still a group where I think you're looking for the alpha and the complete linebacker of the bunch. Who's going to be the coverage guy is kind of a question mark too. Probably going to lean towards Jamal Adams. My only concern with Jamal Adams is, especially if you're going to run a lot of base, you're going to ask him to cover some tight ends, and there's just going to be situations where he just gets boxed out. He's just not big enough. He's a smaller guy, and he played a lot better in the preseason than I was expecting. He exceeded my expectations. I didn't think much of him. And then, I mean, Devin White, they apparently think they can make a starter out of him, but we'll see. Is what I'll leave that one at. But I would almost rather see Jamal start over Devin White at this stage.
Yeah. What I'll say here is that they're going to play the run really well this year.
Very true.
They're going to play the run really well. I watching Landon Roberts play the run is like this pure linebacker play. Like the plays that he was making against the Niners when I was watching, I was like, my God. And he was just like it was like because he knows how to like pace himself when hitting gaps and like he can avoid blocks. He's just so fun to watch play the run. But then there was that one play where he had to guard Ricky Pearsall, and you're like, oh man,
they get that guy off the fucking field.
and that's all Brock Purdy threw to. Brock Purdy did not throw outside that whole drive, right? He threw at Devin White. He threw it at Landon Roberts. He went right down the field, and that's when we talk about the secondary, we talk about everything else, and I think the secondary gets a lot of shit from watching Brock Purdy kind of go right up down the field on them. But he attacked one part of the field.
Yeah.
And it was Devin White and Atlanta Roberts. And that is what NFL teams are going to do. NFL teams, especially if Roberts is out there on third down, which he wasn't against the Niners. It was Pratt and White. But even then, they're throwing at White. You know what I mean? Like, and that's just what's going to happen. Like a good coordinator, though. Like if you play like a guy, some coordinators go out there, we're like, we're just going to run our offense. Like some guys are like that. But there's also the coordinators who are like, we're going to attack Devin White all day. You know what I mean? And I think that's where the gaping hole at linebacker is versus the pass. And in that Niners drive, watching Brock Purdy, like, okay, Landon Roberts and Devin White out here, let me throw at them. And he goes right down the field, right?
Yeah.
And then because they were able to stop the run that game, but if Devin White doesn't just go to George Kittle for some reason and just leave the dagger out wide open behind him on 3rd and 18. He doesn't, Brock Purdy's like, oh, look at, like, what is he doing? Then he anticipates a dig. It's an easy completion. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's what it's about with me. It's just these guys can't play the pass, but man, with Crosby, these guys, it's gonna be hard to run the ball. Linebackers. I mean, that's the positive part of it. It's just the opposite side is that it's a passing league.
The one silver lining, like with this group coverage wise, is Jermaine Pratt can have like really good ball skills. Like he had like a couple of years ago, he has like a good amount of like passes defended, and I think 2 years ago he had like 10 for the Bengals, and he actually, like, if you go on PFF, he had like an elite coverage grade. It's just every other year's not been good, and he does give up quite a few touchdowns and stuff like that. So I think Jermaine Pratt can kind of give you a little bit of what Robert Spillane gave you in coverage, where he'll make a few plays on the ball. But yeah, for the most part, it's not an athletic group, that's for sure. But ideally Landon Roberts makes 2 tackles and then sprints to the sideline after the second one.
Yeah.
So, but I don't even think Devin White's that good against the run. So
yeah, I mean, he looked pretty good against the run in preseason, so that's why I gave him that fact. Yeah. What about picking up linebacker Mamu? He got cut from that.
I don't know much about Chad Mamu. I know his name. I just don't catch many Jags games, so I don't know much about his game.
Yeah, you kind of answered Devontae's question. He's the most all-around guy here.
He's the closest to it, for sure.
Yeah. But this is a big factor. Our linebackers would be solid against the Chargers. Yes, they will. That's what I'm saying. We're built to beat the Chiefs and the Chargers. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I want to see Landon Roberts meet Scott Madlock in the hole on an ISO. That'd be awesome just to watch. Because that Landon Roberts needs to play this season with either a neck roll or a cowboy collar, like one of the two. Like that.
That's how he plays linebacker, bro.
The big old pads from like the 90s, 2000s. Yeah.
Man, he made this hit on one of the 49ers running backs, and I was like, whoa, holy shit. And just the way he did it, like how he paced himself, and he like knew where the gap was, and then he just accelerated. It was like, yo, you were built for 2001.
He did to Creed Humphrey like 4 times last season. I've never seen Creed Humphrey like get knocked backwards like that as much as he did. He's a bull, man. He sees red and he just goes charging straight downhill and puts his helmet in your chest. It's awesome.
Playing in the wrong era, bro. You're way too late, man. Because him playing linebacker is crazy. That way. All right, let's keep it going here. The secondary, which is the question I was saving with JB here, which is, how bad will the secondary be? Great question, JB. Darnay Holmes, Caillou Blue Kelly, Darian Porter, DeCamerion Richardson, Eric Stokes. It's just definitely just not look good on paper. It doesn't.
Was Holmes? They got Holmes off waivers last year, right?
Yeah. He's a Patrick Graham guy.
Yeah, but like he got cut is where I'm going with this.
Yeah.
I'm looking at this room. You got Holmes and Kelly, both 2 guys who were cut last year. And I liked what I saw from Caillou Blue Kelly in the preseason. So I'm not trying to hate on him too much. Eric Stokes, who got benched, and then Darian Porter and DeCamerion Richardson, who are both potential but major projects. And Darian Porter, as much as I love the guy as a prospect, did not look ready in the preseason.
No, he did not.
So I hope that answers your question without making me just say it.
It looks really bad because I think when we get the safety, safety looks better just because Jeremy Chin's there, but it's still, we're really trusting Isaiah Palamau. here. I see. That's the thing. I think Pete Carroll thinks he can kind of scheme with these guys and play his own and have them in certain spots.
What
And like
Pete Carroll is to cornerbacks, Josh McDaniels is to quarterbacks.
exactly, like Pete Carroll thinks he can scheme around these things. Right,
Yeah.
he could scheme around it. Like I could hide these guys basically at point in times and maybe put them in a position where they're doing something they do best. And he thinks he can kind of do these things with corners. And I think that's what he ran into troubles at the end of Seattle, that it wasn't working as well with some of the corners and safeties he was putting out there, that he could just, he could just grab a safety from anywhere off the street and just turn him into, Earl Thomas. But but you drafted Earl Thomas at 13. Just keep it real here. Yeah, it's not.
And then if you notice at the end of Pete's time in Seattle, he spent the number 5 overall pick on Devin Witherspoon. And that was his last first round pick.
So the thing is with me too is like, it's another thing that he likes to do is keep it really young, because I bet this is probably one of the youngest corner groups in the NFL. I 100% believe that. Even Kyu Blu Kelly, he probably is not more than 25, right? He's pretty young too, right?
Yeah, I mean, he's not on a rookie contract anymore, but he's like less than 4 years in the league.
Yeah.
Like everyone on here, I mean, I guess Holmes is in year 5, maybe. Mm-hmm. And Stokes is in year 5. So, yeah, your most senior guys are 2 guys that are fifth-year pros.
Yeah. So that's something else he likes to do, too, is be like...
Holmes is on year 6. Holy shit.
Is he?
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Like, so the oldest guy is... here, 6 years? That's another thing he loves to do. And Porter is 25. Yeah, Porter is old himself. But
Darian Porter?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
He is old, but he's not an NFL like ages. You know what I mean? He's not like he's a rookie still. So
yeah.
Just because he played Tyreek Woolen, he played Richard Sherman early. He played a lot of these guys really early as rookies. And that's something he likes to do, is keep a young secondary. Like, you never see any old corners really play for him. Even Eric Stokes. Yeah. Some guys in here spamming, we should let these guys develop. I'm like, well, they got to play games while that happens.
we will let them develop. We're just trying to tell you what this upcoming season. I'm not. I said Darian Porter, Jakobi Richardson have lots of potential.
They might be great week 13, but like, we got to take 13 weeks to get there, Yeah. Yeah, we got to watch the development live. This is not like guys that develop from like behind. These guys are playing live reps.
Yeah. We will let these guys develop, but it will be ugly while they're developing.
We have to watch the development. Yeah, week 15, Darian Porter might be great week 15, but we got to watch. Yeah. That's the thing. Yeah. But yeah, if they go out and get some other guys, then Juju Brents or something like that, maybe it could work out. But man, we have to watch these guys develop. That's the thing. It's like, sure, develop. I agree. You want guys to develop these young players, but man, do we want you developing with live game reps that count?
Yeah. Usually when you say you got to let these guys develop, that guy's not playing. There's a veteran ahead of that guy.
Yeah. And I agree with JB. They said they went with this year, but this roster tells you that they're rebuilding 100%.
Defensively, it certainly does.
Yeah. I think he fully wants to rebuild this whole defense, right? I think that's what he really wanted to do. Offense, he's like, Chip, do your thing. I'll give you Gino. You got some good guys around here already. They're pretty young over there already. Yeah. Let's just go with I'll fix this defense and we'll revamp it here. All right. So safety, Thomas Harper, he said, I'm just gonna get hurt and allow other guys to play. And
I thought he might get cut because of that.
Yeah, they cut Edmonds, which is super interesting.
They cut
Edmonds. Terrell
Edmonds. Yeah. I imagine they're gonna try and keep him as like one of the veterans on the practice squad that they call up every now and again. But yeah, that was surprising too. Where did they come up with the extra guy on defense? Because I thought they had enough room to keep 5 safeties. Maybe if they didn't, maybe they kept one more defensive tackle.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Yeah. I think they kept.
They kept 6 defensive tackles instead of 5.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so you're going light at safety here. I think maybe Thomas Harper, who looked good on film.
Yeah, he just didn't play. Like he played literally one snap in the preseason, but
Somebody, sorry, my bad. Somebody saying Tony Jefferson. Yeah, no Greedy Vance, which I thought was interesting, but I think Vance get called up this year. I believe it. I stick with that.
Yeah,
but oh man, it's just they're just really trusting Palomar, and I'm a big Palomar guy. I went to Mount Point High School, alumni. Go Pride!
Wait for that to come up.
Yeah, you know what I mean. I'm a fan. I'm pushing for him. But man, they're putting a lot of trust in him, man. They are. They really like him. Go ahead.
Yeah, they signed him to a 2-year deal in the offseason. I think it probably is one of those things that can function more like a one if things do go poorly this season. But yeah, they clearly like him. He's a guy to me that he's such a tweener, especially just size wise, that I don't know if he'll ever find a home in the NFL because he's 6'4", which is not your typical height for your free safety. Look at Earl Thomas. We talk about him a lot, where he's 5'11" or whatnot, but could fly.
Mm-hmm.
But Palomar's also 205 at 6'4", so he's rail thin and can't really play the run, can't play in the box. And I mean, he struggled bad against tight ends last season. So yeah, he's not a shoe-in. He shouldn't be a shoe-in starter. I'm not going to hate on him too much because I did think he showed a few nice things in the past and did end up being a solid starter towards the end of last season. But the fact that he's just a walk-in day one, put in street clothes during the preseason type of starter, is wild.
See, to me, this is why when we were going into the draft. And I thought, some of the buzz about getting wide receiver and stuff, I thought that was crazy because I'm like, if you're gonna, which I thought Pete Carroll was gonna do, I thought they're gonna draft a safeties and corners and things like that. They drafted one corner, they didn't draft the safety at all. So it's just so interesting that they didn't try to attack these positions. And I still think that this is a little bit of arrogance on Pete Carroll, in my opinion. I think this is a little arrogance of what he can do with the secondary. And if they have the size that he likes, he can make it happen, right? Yeah, it's really bad, man. But it's just the secondary is sorry, secondary is a little bit of the problem for me.
Yeah.
Because I do think in his zone you can hide corners, but if your safeties aren't good, you can't hide corners. It's really if you can hide some corners, you got some good safeties. The corners with the Bucks aren't very good. Well, you got Antoine Winfield Jr. back there.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. He helps out the guys, and they can beat. You know what I mean? They just.
I mean, ask the Patriots who paid Brandon Browner after his Seahawks run.
Yeah, you know what I mean. That's the. All right, let's
get the Eagles when they paid Byron Maxwell.
Yeah, exactly. All right, let's get some of these questions to get out of here. Thoughts on Patrick Graham leaving the booth, Matt?
Yeah, I think that's one of those things I've talked about in the past. I think it's one of those things that it's made a bigger deal than it really is. It's just a feel thing. It's just whatever you like. Whether you're have the bird's eye view, I can see everything develop and see what's going on, or if you're on the sidelines feeling your players and feeling the emotions of the game and getting all that crap. It's something where if they're not playing well defensively, Patrick Graham's back up in the booth, everything's gonna be different. It's no, it's the same shit.
Yeah. I think it's a preference of Pete Carroll. Pete Carroll wants exactly. He's like that corporate guy who comes in. Is he wants more. We want more engagement with our players. We want more engagement. Yeah. That's basically what he is. What he's doing. So ask me what does BD think of the secondary? I don't know. I haven't asked him, but that'd be pretty funny. I should. Have one guy you can count on at cornerback?
Can we go to the next question?
God.
I mean, again,
who's the X factor in the secondary? Go ahead, Matt. Go ahead.
Jeremy Chin.
Yeah.
Who's going to play in the box a lot. Yeah. Again, I like the potential that there's in that room. You guys heard me talk about Darian Porter heavily throughout the draft and then after they drafted him. So I like the potential that they have there. I think they just have a lot of traits guys that aren't quite ready. So when we're talking about this season specifically, it could be rough in that spot. I don't know if they have a guy that I trust right now going into the year.
Because the next question that kind of answers, I want to answer that together is, people ask, is Porter better in man or in the zone? And I would say he looked better in man in camp in those one-on-ones, because in the zone he looked lost out there. That's the problem.
Thinking maybe a little too much.
Yeah, he had his good zone eyes in Iowa State, but it felt like he was just late to things, not seeing things, and he's not sure what he's doing out there yet. It's too fast for him right now, basically. Basically, what I was learning.
And the thing to keep in mind with Darian Porter too is he's a converted wide receiver, so he's still new to corner a little bit too. And I think probably as part of it, like he took a few years at Iowa State to really see the field at corner, so maybe he's just one of those guys that needs more reps to feel comfortable in the scheme.
Yeah.
Chin going to play nickel. Yeah, a lot of people ask me that. I think that works against tight ends. I think that'll be the Travis Kelce type stopper, because I think he can hold up size-wise and stuff like that, and that's, I think, one of his strengths. But I'm not trusting Jeremy Chin on a slot receiver.
Yeah.
Unless he shows me something that was dramatically different than the last season.
Do we find out tomorrow if they put claims in for anyone? Yeah, I think so, right?
Yeah, I think it's it's either 9 a.m. Pacific or 12 Pacific. It's 12 one way or the other, whether 12 Eastern or 12 our time.
Yeah. Will Chip Kelly be in the booth? I don't know. Was he in the booth? All right. I don't know. Again,
I don't really pay attention to that.
Yeah. Yeah. All right, guys. Thank you guys for joining us here. I got about 6:50 in here today, so definitely appreciate you guys joining us. Hope you guys enjoy this episode. We're gonna do some film this weekend. Look at some of the preseason film, right? And Matt's gonna probably do Kenny Pickett. You gotta do Amari Cooper. See, look at that.
There we go. Get the preseason.
Look at that. No more preseason. We're doing some last year's film for this year again. So we're kind of going backwards a little bit, but hey, we get real film in about a week. So I'm excited about that. I get to start charting. I'm gonna chart this Chip Kelly's offense, guys. I'm ready to go. Man. I'm excited. I'm excited.
Spreadsheets fired up.
Oh, I got the spreadsheets fired out. I'm ready to count the motions here, because I know it's gonna get crazy. I already know it's gonna get crazy. All right, we're out of here, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Peace.